Hi, everyone. We're going to give everyone a couple more minutes to join. Thank you for jumping on this webinar on how to find and select better materials. Give everybody one more minute. If you guys have any questions or comments, please use chat or the Q&A feature in Zoom. I'll be happy to stop the presentation and further explain anything you might have a question on. Give everybody 30 more seconds and then we'll get started. All right, let's get started. So welcome to the webinar. My name is Paul Shariari. I'm the founder and chief innovation officer here at ecomedes. I have been a volunteer or worked on behalf of the USGBC for about 23 years now. I started out working on the marketing committee when I got right out of college and then proceeded forward through a couple of different roles. I was a faculty member with the USGBC for 5 years and had the pleasure of training around 15,000 people over the course of 5 years around the world on how LEED works. I've been focused primarily on making technology to make green building decision-making easier for the last 15 years of my career. My first 10 were spent kind of doing consulting and helping owners and architects and engineering firms, manufacturers kind of understand how LEED and the rating systems work. And then I proceeded forward to start making tools for our own internal team and then trying to make sustainability a little more simple on the workflow side because I found that we're always looking for data. So today we're going to cover the platform that we built called ecomedes and how it aligns with the Better Materials program that the USGBC runs. So some housekeeping items. As you probably have noticed, we're going to be recording this. I'm going to send the recording out after the training today, so you guys will have that available to you. Please stay muted during the program, but if you want to ask a question or anything like that, I can unmute your voice, or you can just put a question in the Q&A and chat. This is available for 1 GBCI General CEU credit, and the details will be sent to you after the presentation, likely before the end of tomorrow. So you'll have that available to you. We're going to do a pre-seminar poll to just get some general ideas around where you guys are coming from, what you guys might be most interested in. So I'm going to start the poll right now. It's going to ask you, how often do you search for these kind of products? How often do you look for sustainability data on the LEED projects you work on? How many hours you spend searching for eco data? And also on a scale of 1 to 4, how difficult is it to searching, finding, organizing, and documenting compliant product documentation and specifications? So if you could answer those for me, that'd be very helpful. So I get a better sense of what kind of work you guys do on projects. I'll give you 20 more seconds and we'll get started. Thank you for those of you that are answering the poll questions. I appreciate it. Wonderful. Wow. End the poll and I will share the results with you guys on the screen. So monthly seems to be the cadence. Less than 20 hours is spent looking for it, and it's on a scale of 1 to 4, 3. Not too difficult, but also still time consuming, I'm sure. So what we try to do is set out to make a platform that made that a lot easier. So the objectives today, we're going to show you guys how the Better Material program works, the USGBC program that they decided to do as they launched LEED v4.1. Showcase the ability to streamline documentation. If you're a manufacturer, you can participate in a verified for LEED program to kind of automate the documentation review by the GBCI reviewers, kind of like a simulated project, but not tied to a single project. It's just more, here's our data, please look at it. We'll review the LEED credits that we are mapping to in our platform on the Better Materials program and through ecomedes. And we'll end with kind of going through how the ecomedes platform works, how you can discover building materials that meet project sustainability goals with the USGBC's V4 and 4.1 program, conduct comparisons of sustainable building products, We'll do a quick analysis of how our energy and water calculators work, and then also create documentation for LEED projects with one step. You can create as much documentation as you want in our system, and it organizes all the PDFs and background documentation you might need to do that work in your daily practice. So a little bit of an overview, what's kind of instituted the need for the Better Materials program from the USGBC side. They wanted to accelerate, simplify, and scale. And I really believe that we need more of this in the marketplace. Green has gotten pretty complex over the years. When I first started out, there was only one version of a LEED. There was actually only one variant of LEED. It was a LEED V1 pilot applied to all building types. It was fairly straightforward, and there was about 70 or so credits / innovation credits you can go after. Now we have a lot of different variants, and obviously we have other rating systems that are out there. So they wanted to kind of make it easier for people to do more of this and simplify the workflow, because a lot of this ends up being a scavenger hunt in some way, shape, or form. So the industry goes out and we deal with product manufacturing data. We bring it in. You can get it directly from the manufacturer. There's other great platforms out there, UL Spot or Origin, Building Material Scout, Sustainable Minds on Green. They have databases of product data that bring together some information from certifiers, from product manufacturers. Project teams kind of ping all these different sources, gather it all up, and then we provide it to LEED for review. And then the GBCI gives us the blessing of those credits being aligned or not. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of kind of hand holding and a lot of back and forth. And when the the USGBC did some research, they found that on average, a project team has to access at least 25 pages of documentation and interpret up to 45 parameters while doing so. And they do this for every product and every product category on a project. So as you can see, it's very, very repetitive, but it's also very costly because a lot of the people doing this work are being paid hourly to put their time towards these projects. So what the USGBC said is, what can we do to make that a little easier? They came up with this process of the Better Materials solution. So product manufacturers can feed their data to these various platforms like ecomedes. That platform is all going to have a directed GBCI link sent from you guys on the site on Better Materials doing a search. And then essentially just like you do for travel sites like Expedia or Travelocity, you say, I'm going on this trip to Miami. Where are all the hotels in Miami that are available? And they kind of ping all the different hotel sites and give you a quick repository. That's similar to how the GBCI's Better Materials program works. There's one search bar and the team can get that answer. So if you go to the bettermaterials.gbci.org website, type in what your query is, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to open up a browser query to all the different partners that are on there, of which ecomedes is one of them. So it'll send that query for chairs to all these different groups. And then all these different sites will be available to you in a ribbon across the top of your page. And it'll show you, this is the answer from ecomedes or Spot or Origin or Building Material Scout or Sustainable Minds. We all have different ways of displaying the data. Some of us have data that's just around the PDFs or the linkages to the data. Some actually allow you to build a project and kind of submit that all as one. And some have a little mixture of both those. So all of them are a little bit different, but we're all data partners of the Better Materials program. And what I'll share with you today is how our tool brings that data together, presents it to you as a user, and lets you build out an entire project's worth of documentation. The other part of the program was what they built out is called Verified for LEED. And this is where a manufacturer will submit all the certification data to the GBCI, and the GBCI actually will go through, review the data like they would on a project, and then provide a Verified for LEED summary sheet to the marketplace that says, this is all the data that we brought in, here's the source of the data, and here's how it aligns with those BBDO credits within the USGBC's LEED rating system. So this is kind of a more refined way of doing it. It's actually having a GBCI reviewer do the documentation review for you, and then give you a single sheet of paper that's kind of date stamped and time stamped from GBCI, lets you know that this data from the manufacturer has been vetted, aligned, and then you have this like summary sheet on how it helps with credit contributions already fully indicated. That's in a pilot phase. I'm not quite sure if they're going to be renewing that program or not, but it was launched about a year ago, and there's product data that I'll share with you that you can go get and grab from the system. So the Better Materials program that we're going to cover is the way that we've instituted on our site. We actually built out a customized platform called Materials for LEED.ecomedes.com. We'll show you how the platform orients, how it goes and matches up with the LEED credits. And then we'll share with you guys a live demo on how to build a project, go searching for product data, and how you can use it as a great research tool to see if you're aligned with the rating systems you might be chasing after. So it's a free tool. It doesn't cost anything. You just go to materialsforlead.ecomedes.com. You can build a free platform. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a login button. Just provide an email address, your name, and a password. It's just there to save your project work along the way. So if you come across products, you can throw them into a project, amalgamate product data from multiple manufacturers across categories. Every product that's on here has already been pre-vetted to meet at least one LEED credit requirement. So everything on this platform that you're going to see has at least one point of alignment with a LEED rating system in V1 or V4 or V41. So nothing on here is going to be non-compliant. Some products obviously have more eco labels and certifications than others, but everything on here has been pre-vetted, and we update the data on a monthly basis. Certification data comes directly from the sources, and any data that we have in our platform, you'll be able to see in a hover over who was the source of that data and when that data was coming in. It's a very simple product search and discovery methodology, very much similar to searching for something on the web. You can search by verified for LEED or the rating system you're interested in shopping for those elements of those credits. You can go by category, CSI division, credit certifications and eco labels, and even by brand, or you can just type something in the search bar and the search will try to result whatever the brand or the product name matchings are. What's nice is everything in here is in a structured database. So whenever you look at a comparison, I'll show you, it'll be apples to apples. So if you're looking for all the products that have, say floor score, you'll see them all aligned. You're not gonna have to go there and kind of create your own grids like you typically have to do if you're just pulling together data off of PDFs. Product analysis is automated for LEED. You can do some ROI analysis around water and energy calculators driven mainly by Energy Star and WaterSense. You can do a project level set of documentation. And as you build an account, you'll see all the different projects that you've worked on, all summarized in one view. So it kind of builds out like a LEED CV, if you would. There's no limit to the number of products and project evaluations you want to run. You can do it to your heart's content, build as many projects as you want. We want to just make it easy. Our whole goal at ecomedes is to make sustainable projects a lot easier to do and a lot easier to deliver in terms of documentation. That's what we get up every morning and focus on. So the credits that we're going to cover really briefly today is LEED, B, D, and C, new construction V41. We're going to cover the 3 material resource credits, environmental product declaration credit, the one dealing with sourcing of raw materials, the material ingredient credit, and then indoor environmental quality. We'll cover the basics of what's required, what's on that kind of scavenger hunt list, and then show you what data we have in our system due to the partnerships we have with the different eco labels and certifications. So the Verified for LEED program is at the very top of our tool. If you click in here, you'll see 427 products that have gone through that process. You can then further sort by category. Like I said, you can then sort by the source of the data, certifications and eco labels. So anytime you click on one of the filters, it'll then recalculate. And behind all the data points, there'll be a set of parentheses. They'll tell you how many products are in that bucket. So if you say, I'm looking for verified for LEED, but I want to know how many building finishes, they'll tell you there's 376. If you further click into there and say carpet underneath building finishes, this number will be a lot less than 376. So every time you create a new filter, it's going to then further calibrate and hone down and whittle down your answers in the process. All these products, the 15 manufacturers that participated, were all verified by GBCI review teams to make sure all that data is aligned with V4 and 4.1. So the first credit we're going to cover is the EPD credit related to environmental product declarations. Here we're chasing after 20 different permanently installed products sourced from at least 5 different manufacturers that meet one of the disclosure criteria below. So it's pretty, embedded, either you're looking for LCA data around the ISO standard or an EPD, product specific, industry-wide, all the designations are here. So if you read through that documentation list, there's a table there that kind of showcases how a product can count as a half a product, a full product, 1.5 products, even up to 2 products if they've done certain things to optimize that EPD and that LCA data. In our system, we have those filters available to you in the left-hand navigation. So if you just look for EPD and LCA, you can click those 2 filters, and every single product that meets those 2 filters will be indicated in the number above in the results. So I think the last time I did this was about 32,000 products that meet one or the other of these requirements, and every one of them is assigned a credit contribution value. You can further refine this by then saying, I'm looking for things that have EPD and LCA in flooring or in paint or in wall covering or Whatever the case may be, you have all that data and you can further refine it down whatever subcategory and subcategorization you look for. You can also do things in certain categories, like what kind of an EPD is it? So there's another filter down below here. It could be industry-wide, product-specific. So anytime we can refine the data even further, you'll see those opportunities pop up depending on what sub-filters you've created. You can also then just type in the brand. So if you're looking for something with an EPD or an LCA, you know a brand has told you that in their marketing or one of their lunch and learns, just type the brand in there and it'll search for brand name and the EPD or the LCA compliance factor. On the next one, it's sourcing of raw materials. Here, there's a couple different paths to the data that you're out looking for. Extended Producer Responsibility Program, bio-based through USDA BioPreferred, FSC certified or USGBC approved equivalent, material reuse or recycled content. So all of these data points are mapped inside of our system, and anytime a manufacturer has provided that data or a certifying body like USDA BioPreferred has provided that to us, you'll be able to have those filters on the left-hand navigation. So for BioPreferred, that entire database is in our system. We do work with the federal government and the GSA, so the entire USDA BioPreferred database is in there. FSC is also in there. There's 1,900 products, I think, of last pull from FSC, and then we have certified recycled content. We are going to be later on this year launching recycled content database for the EPA. So all those products that have passed that requirement will be flooding into this platform as well. So anytime we update data across our network, it comes into this version for the USGBC and the Better Materials Program. You can then further refine by category or subcategory, CSI division or brand to get into the actual product catalog that you might be looking for, or the product category you might be more interested in. The second part of this credit under the material ingredients is looking at material ingredient reporting. So here we have a couple different documentation requirements, similar structure to the EPD credit. We're looking for 20 different permanently installed products. And then we're looking for things from BIFMA level, cradle to cradle, declare, facts, global green tag, health product declaration, living product challenge, a manufacturing inventory that they can look at, or a product lens certification. All of those data points that we can map to automatically are available there. So the entire ANSI BIFMA level database for furniture is in there. Cradle to cradle and cradle to cradle material health is in our system. Declare is in our system. HPD Collaborative sends us data, and the Living Product Challenge also has data fed to us. So all these entire registries, without you having to go out to those separate places, you can see all that product detail there directly from the sources of the data. And again, in the parentheses, you'll see what is available from each one of those sources, but the credit requires just one of these to be met. So you have a very large range of products that might meet those guidelines. If you do go into cradle to cradle, you can actually look by level, platinum through certified, category, subcategory, brand, CSI division. So anytime we have some granularity within a certification, we'll provide that to you and make that available to you. Same thing with declare and red risk, that will be shown to you on the product page. Under the next part of material ingredient optimization, we'll do some of the similar stuff around cradle to cradle, declare red list free or LBC red list free, HPD meeting optimization verification criteria, reach, and a PhD report. Same process is in place there. You can filter by cradle to cradle, declare, HPD, living product challenge, and again, further refine down to those optimization requirements. But all those products are available, and you can, with one click, find all the data that's available within those registries. And the last credit that we'll talk about before we go to the live demo is just indoor and environmental quality stuff. There's a couple different things that are tracking against categories. So if you can cover 2 categories, 3 categories, 4 categories, or 5 with all the requirements of low emitting materials and the reference standards, you can then submit in LEED online and be able to get those points awarded in your process. So here we're going to map to CDPH, which we have in the database, VOC content evaluation, formaldehyde emissions under EPA thresholds, or in certain product categories like paints and coatings and adhesives and sealants, we can reference the different CARB or SQMD rulings, and flooring, wall paint, ceilings, and insulation. There's guidelines, or ANSI BIFMA, or the TSCA Title 6 requirements. So BIFMA, Green Guard Gold, SCS Gold are all in there. You can just search for those through the click, and then further refine it down BIFMA level. You can go through level 1, 2, and 3, or UL Green Guard Gold, or SCS Indoor Advantage Gold. Those are all available to you. And the entire database is brought forward from those different data sources. All these data sources that I've shown you are updated on a monthly basis. Not all in the first of the month, they all have different cadences, but you'll push that data into our system. And then whenever you hover over it, and I'll show you in the live demo in a second, that all those data points are available to you, and you can see who gave it to us and then when the last update was. Most certification data points now too also carry when they expire. So if you are using that product, you'll know when that certification expires and when you might need to renew that certificate. If your project's 2 to 3 years out in the future, you might want to just make a note of that when you're pulling together the documentation. So with that, I will stop and see if there's any questions. I don't see anything in Q&A and chat, but love to stop here if you guys have any questions before we go diving into the actual platform. I'll give you a minute if you want to raise something. All right, I don't see one. So I'll go right into the live demo. So this is the website, materialsforleed.ecomedes.com. If you want and follow along, if you have another monitor you can play with, or minimize this one and just play along as I'm doing it, you just go to the sign up page, put in your email address, a password, hit continue. And basically once it creates an account for you, you'll see your name in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to start a little bit, not in reverse, but I'll just show you kind of why having an account is good for you, is it can allow you to keep your projects all together. So here I can actually have a running total of all the projects that I've built on the site. And then it tells me the total amount of energy and water I've saved. My project teams converts the gallons and the kilowatts to dollars. So that's kind of a nice feature. You can also then build out as many elements as you want when you're pulling together a project. So I can go in here and show you kind of just in reverse how you build that out. You can fill out a little kind of project details format. Then anything that we come along in the platform, you just throw them into a project, put in quantity, unit price, if you want to get the full LEED calculation, if you just want the data. Unlike what I used to have to do, is just grab all these PDFs, create lots and lots of folders all over my desktop, try to find all that stuff. When I put a product like this Tarkett product into a job, I have all this data that's coming in. So as I hover over this, it'll tell me that Tarkett gave me this data. Last time they updated some of this general data was on 4/26/2022. But I can see that the Green Label Plus certificate, their EPD, their NSF 140 certificates are all right here. And every one of the products that we have in our site, you'll be able to, with one click, get right to the certification. So rather than getting on another scavenger hunt, you can see that certificate with one click. If you wanted to see their EPD, you can grab their EPD like that. And these are all links directly to the data related to that product that you were just on. So every one of the ecomedes pages for a product manufacturer gathers up all this data that we can for you, things like recycled content, all the types of data you might want, California 1350, Buy America Act compliance. Sometimes we even track the location manufacturer. And all this, all I have to do to add that to a project is to just grab it here. It knows what projects I have. So if I wanted to grab this from one project and say it'd be great for this other project I'm working on, just that quickly I can hit save. And now all this product data, along with all these hyperlinks, all gets shifted over to my other project. I can add it to a comparison. I can contact the manufacturer. And most importantly, I can take a look at just getting a PDF of this cut sheet, and it'll date stamp it for me and tell me where I got it from, all the data. And if I do share this PDF out, all these are going to be active hyperlinks. So all the things that are active hyperlinks on the web page, they continue being active in the PDF that you might generate for yourself. So all the projects that I build, I can capture all the product data that I want. And the nicest part is I don't have to kind of keep them sorted on my own desktop. I can just grab all the products that I'm looking at. Here, the water data is built in because of the plumbing fixtures I grabbed from WaterSense. And then if I want to run calculations against any version of LEED, it could be V4, full one. You just pick whatever variants you want and hit evaluate. It'll take a look at all the data, it'll do the math, and then underneath it'll tell you all the different credits within whatever LEED rating system you looked for. If you had energy or water savings, it'll total that up for you by month, by year, total gallons. And all the cut sheets that we looked at one by one are all available to you, inclusive of those hyperlinks. So if I needed to see that, cradle to cradle certificate, with one click, it'll download it for me and also keep it in this project folder. All the actual individual contributions of that product. So I have the project level evaluation up here, but every product is summarized on its own regard and tells you how that one specific product helped me from all these different manufacturers. I didn't have to go grab any of this data for myself. It's all just part of the process of the way the ecomedes platform works. So if you go back to the main starting point, I'll show you a little bit of how you can go searching for products. The first one that a lot of people use is just verified for LEED. So if I select that as a filter, I can then categorize them. So I told you there's finishes, furnishings, construction materials. So I go into finishes. I can then hit the subcategory button. I can go into ceilings, or acoustical ceiling tiles, floor coverings, carpet, things like that. So if I go to floor coverings, non-carpet, there'll be some products related to our LVT or VCT. I can go find this Armstrong flooring product, and then the LEED summary sheet, the floor score certificate. If I click on the LEED verified for LEED document, it sends me right to that actual document. It tells me who created it, when it was created, and all the documentation has been summarized and provided to me with one click. So that it's really, really easy to kind of find the information you're looking for. And again, if I like that product, I want to add it to a project, I can add it to any of my projects that I have within my account. There's no limit to doing that on the process. If I go back and I want to add it to a comparison, I could say I want to add this to a comparison, this to a comparison, this other MyPay product to a comparison. I'll do this product, and then I'll find one more to use, maybe this Armstrong flooring one. So I go up to comparison, it'll just put all that data side by side. So rather than having to do any kind of racking and stacking or building my own spreadsheet, all the data that we have gotten from the various sources will all be provided. They're all part of LEED summary. So I have those, but here it shows me some EPD information. One meets California 1350. 3 of them have floor score. 2 of them have Green Square certified, Green Circle, SCS Indoor Advantage Gold. So really quickly, I can take a look at what meets my guidelines. And if something doesn't, I can just remove that from the overall search. And now I have just these 3 results. A lot of younger designers are using Slack to be able to share this kind of comparison data with their teams. And I'm going to just kind of put it in the chat so you guys can see how easy it is. Anytime you go and find a set of results in our tool, you can actually just hover over the top URL that you have and then send that URL result to anybody else, and they'll get to the same exact information. So if I was looking for, say, building finishes, and I'm looking for a subtype called carpet, I can go grab carpet. So here's 19,000 results. And within that carpet catalog, I can say, I only want to see the things that are cradle to cradle certified. That's what my project team wants to go get. I can also just grab that set of search results. And in our URL structure, I'll actually grab all the things you just searched by. And I'm going to put that in the chat. So if you ever shared that or embedded that into a set of specifications and you wanted to make sure your next carpet specification is only people that meet carpet and C2C, you can actually put that right in there and make that the link in your spec so people can follow it. If you go even a step further, you can say, well, how many products meet gold cradle to cradle? Well, then these products have the gold certification. There's 3 from a company called Modulus and 1 from Padcraft. Again, you can kind of refine this as far as you want down the path, depending on how specific you want to use the tool to kind of research what's going on. A lot of manufacturers and sales reps and project teams kind of go by category. So I was looking for furniture and I was looking for, say, seating. I can go into furniture subcategory, find the type, look for just seating. And I have 822 results. Again, all these are going to be vetted to meet at least one of the requirements for LEED. And then all the certifications that are underlying these 822 results have all been refactored and recalculated. So now within these parameters and these parentheses, you know how many products meet BIFMA level, 1 meets certification of C2C, 52 are declare aligned. So if I click declare, now I'm down to 51 results. And if I wanted to know what brands have met those guidelines, it's Herman Miller, Human Scale, and Knoll. And if I just want to say, maybe, let me see the Herman Miller products, it'd be these 8 products from Herman Miller. And all the product detail of that Herman Miller product is right here. You have contact information, all the technical information is right here. Again, with one click, you can go and get bounced right to wherever that certificate is. So in this case, it's a level 3 certified chair or an LBC approved product. They'll send me to the amazing database at Toxnot that powers Declare. And then I have the Declare red list documentation for that process. So it's really nice and clean. It's easy to do. Any certificate that we have will not only map it to you, but will give you one-click access to it. You'll have it on your desktop in a couple of seconds. And again, when you hover over this, it tells you that this came from SCS on the 24th of August. This data came from ToxNot. This data came from Herman Miller. So anytime we have a piece of information in our system, it is structured, but you'll always know who gave us the information and who might have determined that that was there. So the California 1350 compliance came from SCS, but the conforms to red list free requirements that came from Herman Miller. And then the level 3 certificate came from NSF. So it's designed to be very, very straightforward. If I like this chair, again, I can just add it to my project, and just that quickly, I'll hit save, and now that product detail, along with all these hyperlinks, are all going to get sent over to my project over there on the process. So another way to search would also just be by brand. So if you know the brand you're working with, say you're working with USG and you're doing stuff with drywall, if you click USG, you'll see their entire catalog. So it's 1,055 results. And you can further go into building finishes or construction materials. Go on construction materials. It shows you all the stuff that they have in here. Wallboard and gypsum might be something you're looking for. And they even have further, drywall broken out. And then you can go hunting further down in the certifications, eco labels you might be looking for. Green Guard, HPD, EPD, or Declare. And again, all that data is available to you, and it's updated by the manufacturer, or in some cases, the manufacturer gives us the picture and the contact information, but the EPD information might be coming in from UL or another certification partner that they have. The vast majority of the data comes from certification partners that are being updated on a monthly basis. Are there any other questions that I might be able to answer? I don't see anything in Q&A. I know there's a lot of stuff kind of thrown at you at once, but I want to make sure I can cover any example that you guys might want to have me show you. It's free for anyone to use. Your project team, you can be an architect, designer, your subcontractors. A lot of architects and contractors now are training up their subcontractor teams, bidding a project, saying, hey, I know I'm going to ask you for a lot of information. I used to have to do that all the time as a consultant, do these like charrettes and trainings for big project teams as they kicked off bidding and different bid packages. But now all this information that really is sometimes a struggle for the distributor or the subcontractor or the trade partners, they can just go in here. I'll go through an example for categories. How about well version 2? We'll be able to search for that. So we can do that. We can't do it on this site. Materials for LEED is designated only for the USGBC's program, but we have another site called products.ecomedes.com. And that site has no curation based on rating systems. So here's all of our data across all of the same stuff that you just saw on that platform. But essentially you can search by only LEED compliant stuff, which is kind of what that other site does. You can search by well. So you have well V1 and V2. So I'm taking about 800,000 products, and just by clicking on well, it goes down to about 138,000 results. If I click well V2, I can go further down into like a more refined search. And if I go into a certain product category like finishes, it'll show me the 82,000 finishes that at one point or another meet one of the well building standards. And if you keep clicking down these like standards, they'll tell you what segment of the standard you might be interested in. And if you click on like materials, it'll get a little more refined, and then it actually has the credit language in there identified. So we've mapped anywhere that credit requires a certain certificate. Essentially, we're doing that matching for you so that when you're getting inspired by products, you kind of know that they already meet it. If you see a baseball card, which is what we call this view, you can actually in here just click documentation and just pick the rating system that you're interested in. And if you click LEED V2, hit document, it'll run this calculation against all this data and give you a really quick answer on these are the elements of well that you might align with based on the detail that we have on this product. And you can just PDF that right from the start. But that's on products.ecomedes.com. It's a single sign-on platform. So if you create an account on the Better Materials version, the materials for LEED.ecomedes.com, you can use the same login. You can see it just logged me in, and it'll keep projects on separate platforms just because that's how the database structure and our Amazon servers work. But you can actually create projects on whatever other site you have interest in looking at. We also have a version like this for the federal government. So if you do projects for the federal government, this is a curated version of our platform only for federally compliant products. Same exact workflow, most of the same data, but this has already been pre-vetted to only align with things that meet federal guidelines. So I hope that answered the question. But this program, Materials for LEED, is designed 100% to focus on LEED. We already curate, as we get new data in from certifiers, we make sure that this is updated. As long as we have the data, we index it overnight. So we make sure that this is fresh and clean every morning. You log in, these are all the different certifications, and then whatever you're looking for. I'm going to go into product category, just two of them that have a unique little built-in ROI calculator. So if you go into lighting and go looking for, say, something like light bulbs, you can go in here and open up a light bulb that you might have found and liked. We have all this data coming in from Energy Star. If you hover over it, it will kind of tell you the warranty length and, more importantly, the energy consumption. And if I say I want a 5-year analysis and I'm going to buy 1,000 of these light bulbs for a multifamily apartment building or some other kind of project I'm working on, let's just say they're $4.25. They're 14 watts, an average equivalent of 60. And it'll actually do the ROI chart to show you how much more you spent on those better light bulbs in the beginning, and then how much money you're going to save over time. And over the course of 5 years, you'll save $116,000 and 720,000 kilowatts. And as you change this, it'll keep changing the calculation. So no matter what the owner wants in terms of an ROI equivalent, it'll actually go in here and analyze what it will do over time and kind of do that math for you. So it takes the data that we know about energy consumption and puts it to work and kind of puts it in front of the owner in a way, or a decision maker, to kind of say, hey, there's an ROI doing green or LEED. It's all baked into the process. Similar thing happens with plumbing. We have all the WaterSense data. So if you go searching by WaterSense down below, it'll show you all of WaterSense certified fixtures. And if you're interested in, say, a pint flow urinal, it'll tell you the gallons per flush. And then down below here, it'll ask you the number of male occupants, since those are the ones that are using the urinal. You type in, I need 100 of these in a big commercial project, and I'm going to spend $425 on them. It'll automatically generate the water savings based on the 500 male occupants, a 10-year cycle. We do have advanced options to kind of say how many operational days per week. So if it's a building, it'll be probably 5. If it's maybe a healthcare situation, will be open, 7 days a week, and then it kind of goes in there and it can inflate the water cost. You can change the water cost in here and option out. And if you build out any projects with water and energy elements in it, so I'll add this to my little demo project. What I like is whenever you're perusing the site and you have maybe just a bucket of products that are good solutions, you can actually just create a sustainable solutions project. And then that way you still have all the access to all those elements. And here I just took that Herman Miller chair, I dropped it in there. So maybe I could update the quantity and the price. And then down below, there's that urinal that we just played with. Here's already a total toilet. So I'm going to add the number of urinals, the price. I'll hit save. And now I have 2 things on my water budget. One that's the commercial urinal, and the other one that's a dual flush toilet. So I can actually isolate which one is saving water where the break-even point is. And then when I unlock both of them, it'll tell me the total number of gallons. In this case, 4.8 million gallons over 5 years, saving the owner $63,000. I used to get that question more often than not, is tell me the value of paying you to give me all this advice and LEED certify my buildings. I found that, this really helped me early on in my career to kind of have the documentation to be able to prove it. And I've had clients say, I need a 3-year payback, I need a 5-year payback. And I've had clients that are institutional operators of buildings that are not going to sell the buildings, like universities. And they might say, tell me what this impact is over 20 years. And, in this case, you have 21 million gallons of water savings and $365,000 of water savings over that duration. So what's nice is it's not meant to be like an alternative for engineering, but it's just meant to kind of grab the data from the products you have in your project. Ultimately, you can change the baseline out. So if your WaterSense certified fixtures are 0.9 and 1.6, you can always go in here and say, I want to compare it to just a 1.6 toilet. You can always make those changes. Anything you change to the baseline, it automatically gets reflected up here in the calculation. So the grayed out stuff you can't change. You can certainly go in here and change whatever parameter you want, and therefore just sometimes adjust when the break-even point is. And it tells you exactly when you break even, what month, and how many dollars you should have as a result. And at the very bottom, again, you can choose any rating system. You can choose as many as you want. You can also go back in there and say, okay, they've decided on LEED for schools. So that's the only one I need evaluation on. Hit one button, it regresses all that data, updates the price. Now I have the project level documentation, all the credits I've mapped to. water savings is summarized. And now I have all the actual background documentation for how every ingredient helped me along the way. So if you're hunting EPDs, you need 20 products from 5 different manufacturers. It makes it very, very easy to do, because now you can actually count those up right here and see how many products you have. And as long as one of the things that you did to make sure that everything had an EPD, drop them in here. Now you have that entire piece of documentation done for you. So it's both visual and you have the documentation. And again, you can share this tool with anybody in your work, in your network. We don't have any costs. We don't spam you with data. We might have new emails that we send out about a new feature that we've added to the platform, but we're not taking your data. We're not selling your analytics to anybody. We just want to use the data to make the platform better for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to do a post-presentation poll just to get a thought of how impactful would this be for your work? How much time do you think it'll save you along the way? And also, would you recommend ecomedes to a friend or a colleague that's doing the work? So let me go to the post poll, hit launch, and you should see that on your screen right now. Please provide me as much feedback as you're willing to do. If you'd like to register for another webinar, we have them coming up every single month. If you'd like us to do a shred just for your team or your project or your firm, we're happy to do a quick little half-an-hour demo of this for any project team that wants to get a bunch of folks in the room and get everyone kind of using the same platform. If architects, engineers, contractors, and consultants all use it, it makes the process a lot easier. We even do like micro little trainings to bidding groups, so they know exactly how to use it to make their life easier. Anything we could do to make LEED more simple, we'd love to hear it from you guys. Thank you for answering the poll question so quickly. And I'll share the results with you guys. Appreciate the good, awesome, positive feedback. We try to save project teams at least 25 hours of doing this work by hand. We're always looking to make it easier and faster. We are working on some new tools for some of the newer rating systems that are coming out. So we'll always, if you guys join our mailing list or one of our ideation sessions, we'll be happy to put your name on that list and then send you guys updated information about new features that are coming along the way. I will send you guys as follow-up the video, all of the CEU stuff to register. It's self-reported, so you guys can submit that to the GBCI after the training. And again, we have them every month for the rest of the year. We're looking forward to Greenbuild. We'll be there in San Francisco. Hope to see you guys all there. And if there's anything else you guys want to send me, please feel free to just email me. I'm happy to schedule, again, like I said, firm-wide versions of this training, or show you some of our other platforms if you do federal work or you want to see the other rating systems we have. Happy to walk you guys through those as well. So thank you all for your time and your patience. If you don't have any further questions or any other chats I need to respond to, I will be happy to answer them later. Have a great rest of your week and go green. Bye.